Testing. All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year. We haven't seen some of you, especially our parents. So today is another follow-up to our centralized resource services facility. I'm going to actually propose a name for the temporary center at the end so we can condense what we're calling it. But I want to thank you for being here. And you have hopefully the agenda that was passed out to you, or they're on the tables. And I'm going to turn it over to our superintendent, Dr. Marsden. He's going to do an opening message for you. A welcome. Thank you, Dr. Marsden.
Thank you, Dr. Moneras. And we are small tonight, but we are mighty. I am so grateful for the work that we have done together and looking forward to what's ahead. Tonight, you'll get some updates on everything from what we're thinking about doing in the facility to the facility itself. You'll get an introduction, I'm sure, to our newest team members. I'm very excited about the people that are here. You know, I personally know that our folks involved in this work are very passionate about this. They think about it all the time. It's their mindset, and so I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for our parents who are here. Thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for your investment. Your kids, you know, they benefit. Also, children beyond us will benefit because of the work that we're doing. So, thank you for being here tonight. So appreciated, and look forward to what you're going to come up with.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden. Did I already see a hand? Yes, Pastor. Remember, we've got people watching us from their comfort home.
Since I've been coming to the meeting, one of the things was, this is a surprise to all of you all, and I hope I don't be put out. I hope I don't lose my dignity or my characterization with you all. But ever since I've been coming to the meeting with the old superintendent and the one before that one, I decided I wanted to do this tonight. And it's been on my heart and everything. I'm going to have a small word of prayer. And I know we don't hardly ever do this in no meeting, but this is something that's been laid on my heart heavily. And it's a beautiful prayer, and I want you all to hear it. And I told Dale it was a surprise and everything. We have a great leader, a man that have came a long ways. And we have staff and stakeholders that have put this thing together. We on our way to the top. And as I pray this little special prayer, it's for us all to understand it's not going to be out of the ordinary, but it's going to be beautiful for us to realize that we are one big family, and we're going to make it. We're going to be number one pretty soon, and we're on our way to the top. So let's hear this little prayer. Father, as we come, we want to thank the stakeholders. We want to thank the leaders and all our friends. Give us the understanding. Give us the knowledge. Give us the wisdom to do the right thing and direct each other in the way we should go. Thank you. In God's name, we pray through Jesus. Amen.
That was a great surprise.
I like those kind of surprises. All right, so yes, before I move any further, because my brain sometimes forgets, right, Peg, when I greet you and I say good morning and it's almost 6 o'clock at night, I want to introduce our newest team member to San Bernardino City Unified, Leonard Buckner. Leonard is our Assistant Director of Enrollment and Student Placement, so integral into our new center and what it's going to be offering. So Leonard, if you just stand so we can all say welcome to San Bernardino. And not new to San Bernardino, but new to a position, and we're very fortunate to have him. Randy, I don't know your last name. Olson? Randy Olson, we borrowed him from Cajon High School. Welcome, Randy. Randy is program specialist for Family Engagement's office, so we're very pleased to have him. And he, like Leonard, have hit the ground running at running a marathon and a sprint. So thank you for everything you're doing. All right, so today, our outcomes, these are the same ones that are on your agenda, and very much like we did the last time we were together, which, was that in October? Does that sound right, team? I think so, in October. We have rational and we have experiential. So we're going to give you updates on timelines and communication materials. We're going to share the role and services of school counselors. I think that's the wrong role, isn't it? That's okay. It's an E, not double L, but. And we're going to share bully prevention programs in San Bernardino. Experiential outcomes is to continue to build and nurture these relationships. So thank you, Pastor, for that prayer amongst the stakeholders that comprise San Bernardino City Unified. And just as a reminder, where did those 3 big rational outcomes come from? They really came from the feedback you gave us at the end of October, right? So you wanted more updates on timelines. We wanted to be sure we circled back on the communication pieces because you gave us feedback there. You also shared when we did the red, yellow, green, what kind of supports are out there for our students who might have some behavioral challenges or some social emotional needs. And so we chose to talk about the role of our school counselors because they're instrumental to that work. And then to talk about bully prevention, we know that that continues to be a national topic, a state topic, and a local. So we thought that that would be really important to share with you. And we're going to do that work like we did last time in 3 rotating groups so that you have time to ask questions. 20 minutes, you'll go to the next one. When we're done, we'll come back. We'll talk about some concrete next steps that are going to be happening in that temporary center. I'm going to propose a temporary name, and hopefully I get a thumbs up from the group so we can start calling it something else. And then we'll do another confidence line. Okay, so we think we might be able to do this. Maybe we can get out even a little bit earlier than 7:30. So as we always do to meet that goal of bringing the team together and that family feeling, we're going to do basics for excellence, speed of trust, and Devonna Robertson is going to lead us in a team building activity. Come on up, Devonna. Thank you. Looking fabulous.
So what I wanted to do was a breathing exercise. I wanted some jazz to be playing and for us to close our eyes and really be intentional about our breathing. But I know it's been a long day for all of us, so I didn't want to put us to sleep because we need to have some discussion. So what we're going to do instead is I want you to turn to your neighbor and share with them a few things that you're grateful for in this new year, and then we'll share out a couple of those things that you guys discuss with somebody else. Nisha, you want to come up to this table? So I'll give you guys a few minutes. Some things that you're grateful for. All right, you guys, how are we doing with sharing? Are we done sharing something? 1 more minute? Okay. Okay, you guys, can I have a few volunteers share out something that they are grateful for in this new 2018 year? Any volunteers? Do we have to do voluntold? Thank you, Nisha.
So we discussed being grateful for family and then support, because we can't do anything by ourselves. So that was what we were grateful for.
Thank you, Nisha. I'm gonna go to each table. So somebody at this table.
So I am grateful for my new role here in San Bernardino City Unified School District. I'm also grateful for my family, my health, and the many blessings that we have.
Thank you for sharing. You want to share too? Oh, you look like you raised your hand. Okay. Somebody over here.
We collectively were grateful for family and our jobs and the ability to be part of San Bernardino and the things that are happening in San Bernardino.
Thank you, thank you. Someone over here? Care to share? Here we go.
Okay. We were as well collectively thankful for our family and health.
Thank you. Anybody here? Care to share? Nobody's gonna give me eye contact. You see everybody looking away? Somebody. Thank you.
We're thankful also for family, but we're also thankful that the school year is coming to an end. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone here? Thank you.
We're thankful for our health. We're thankful for jobs that we love and the people that we work with. And we are also thankful for family.
Thank you, guys. I am thankful for all of you guys so much.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. That's really nice to, some days you just need that. Today I know I needed to do that. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to reframe in my head. That's important. All right, so how did we get here? Okay, I just want to remind everybody, I want to remind those of us in the room right here, I want to remind anybody who might be watching us through live YouTube. But we started this process, actually it's been almost a year now. It's been almost a year in February at a board meeting where our two very dynamic parent groups came together and they said, you know what? We're going to figure out how to provide for our community what needs to happen. And we're going to survey our community and see what are the needs out there. And we're going to do this together. And over time, it was a journey, and there was some processes that we allowed to take place. And then there was a survey that was done, I think at the end of the year last year, right? And it was, we got a really good turnout, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the exact number, but it was a good sized turnout. I was going to say around 8,000 of our families returned this survey. And if you remember, we asked various questions around if we were to have a center where you can enroll, what other services would you also like to see? Because we don't want to build what we don't want to build for where we're at. We want to build for our future, right? And so we asked lots of questions, and we brought all that data together for our first time with this group, and that was, I think, in July or June. One of those 2 months, sometime in the summertime, right? And remember, we were in here and we said, Dr. Volkemer led you in this activity where we said, we want you to dream. We want you to dream what could be in this new building. What would be the center? What would be the services offered? What would it look like? What might it sound like? We went as far as to say, allow yourself to think about what it would actually be shaped like. I think there was a group that did a heart building, if I remember correctly. And from there, we took those posters. So there were 14 groups on that evening. And we took those posters, and then we combined and looked for themes or overlaps, if you will. And we came up with 3 big buckets of what you would like to see in this building. And I'm not expecting that you need to read this. I'm just reminding you, right? So the 3 buckets were educational programs, social and health services for family and students, and then there was ideas around what the actual building concept would look like. And if you remember correctly, we came back and we shared this with you the second time, and we talked about these numbers, right? So 14 out of 14 of the groups said, let's see, right here, that they wanted information around educational programs, specifically around things like GATE, language testing, AVID, VAPA, career pathways. Really, what are the educational, if I'm coming to San Bernardino, what do you offer to my child? We know you offer a K-12 education, but what other specialized programs can I participate in for my child? That was a big deal to the group. 14 out of 14 of the groups said they wanted information around that. The reason we're circling this one up here is because this is what we are saying will be in the new center. So just this, again, just a reminder. 14 out of 14 also had a lot of requests for things around health and mental health services. And so specifically assessment or referral information, behavioral resources, counseling, crisis support, immunization, TB test, and sports physicals, some dental or vision, anything that could help the family in enrolling their child in a school setting, but also to keep them involved in sports. If a parent wants to be a part of a volunteer program, a TB test for the parent, just those basic needs that we want our families to have access to, or at least know how to then go, where else could they go in the community to access it? That was really important to this group. And then last but not least, we know that for our district English Learner Advisory Committee, our DLAC, there used to be an opportunity to enroll at a centralized center, and so particularly enrollment was important, but that was not the only piece. We know that our other groups of families said that we want opportunity to enroll there. We might want to be able to enroll at the school, but we also want to know what's available to us. Again, that goes back to the educational programs. And so the building concept, we had to be sure that we had, did I do that? There we go. We had to be sure that we had an option to enroll, an option to enroll. A family can still go and enroll at their local school if that is where they choose to enroll. but that was an opportunity. We wanted to be sure that this building, when you enter, that it's a welcoming space, that it kind of opens your arms to whoever's walking through that door and ushers them along in the educational journey with their child, especially if they're new to our district or if they're new to the country or the area. Very important to that. We wanted to be sure that there was a feel of customer service, and I think the group that drew the Heart Building, that feeling of being the heart of San Bernardino City Unified from the very beginning. Those were important pieces to everybody as they, in those 14 posters. You see there's other information underneath, but the most important pieces are the ones that we circled up there, right? So we were sure, as we think about the temporary space, that we have at least some of these pieces met, and over the time we've gone through and we've talked about what that would look like. And then as we prepare for the permanent space, are there other elements that will be included in there? Does that sound correct to everybody? Did I capture that correctly for those sitting here who've been through all of it? Yes? Okay. So tonight, and so the process since then, right, is we've said, all right, there's been questions. Well, my child needs special ed. Or I think my child might need special ed. Is special ed going to be in here? And so last time we came together, that was an example, and we talked about what physical departments will be inside this building. But also, we also talked about, we don't necessarily need the physical department, but we need access to the information. So you're not running all over town. So we will be sharing with you that we will have access to information in this center, but not just in this center. We're also making sure that it's on the website and that it's going to be nice and easily accessible to you. So I think we're going to be able to look at a little bit of that tonight. Okay. So tonight we're going to go into our groups. Okay, so that's how we got here, right? So we will have a center, and what we know for sure in our temporary center is that we will have those top options addressed. We will have our English learner program, department, and language assessment available in the center. We also will have GATE assessments and our GATE elementary program housed in the center. We will have our family engagement resource center that's currently over at the WA. That will be relocating to this new temporary center. And everyone I'm listing will also go into the permanent one. We know that in the temporary center, we're also going to house our enrollment, our assistant director of enrollment and student placement options, so that families have the option to enroll at the center if they choose to do so at the elementary level. Secondary will continue to enroll at the middle and high school. We need the counselors there. We might move in that direction down the road, but right now, elementary option at the temporary and the permanent site. And we will have our ATLAS program, which stands for Access to Learning for All Students. Thank you. Thank you. Access to Learning for All Students. That's our students who are either homeless or foster youth, and how do you access information for those children? That department will also be in the temporary center. The one that we were not able to place in the temporary due to some privacy issues was our health services department. The department, because we couldn't make sure that the confidentiality of student information would be closed off. But we're still looking at maybe down the road being able to do that. They will be at the permanent for sure. And at the end, I'll talk about the clinic, the health clinic, okay, because we're going to talk about that, because we are in conversation around that. So what we're going to do tonight, as I shared, is move into these three groups so that you have 20 minutes to not only listen to where we are with things, but be able to ask and answer questions in a much more intimate setting, right? So you'll get 20 minutes in each one, just like we did before, and then we'll come back together, and then we'll go over all the concrete pieces again, and then we'll do a confidence line. Any questions on that before I kind of divvy you off to the different groups? Okay, so facilities and communications department, we're kind of throwing that group all together. We think it won't take as much time. We really had wanted to try to hold this meeting in our new temporary facility. We thought that would be great. You can have a little field trip and everything. Well, we're having some challenges with internet services, and so they'll actually share that's a little barrier. We're gonna overcome it, but we couldn't overcome it for tonight. So, but we'll start with facilities and communications departments. So they'll be over here. You'll take a look at some work that's been going on the website. Maria Garcia has some feedback or to share some of the information you shared with her last, or with Linda Bardier last. So she'll share that with you. So that'll be over here. For the student wellness and support services, and we have some new people to our room. Can you all stand up if you're Student Wellness and Support Services Department, because you guys weren't here last time? Yes, Rose, that includes you. Most important, right? So Rose Beaumetry, Rose is our Director of Student Wellness and Support Services, and then her team, they'll introduce themselves. There's a Michelle, there's a Stephanie, there's a Jill. You'll catch them real quick. They'll introduce themselves to you when you're in your smaller groups. So one of them is going to work on bully prevention programs, they're going to tell you what we're doing around it. There's a lot of work going on in our district to prevent bullying, and there's also work going on for when it's happening, how to intervene and how to turn it around. It is not perfect by any means. We would never claim to say that. We know that we are living in challenging times, but the more we keep working on it, the better we'll be. And the more you know, then you can be our voice to help those parents who don't know on how to access the information. So the bully prevention work is going to be on this end, right? You guys over here. Okay, so Michelle and Stephanie will be sharing that. And then the role of the school counselor and mental health services that we offer in our district will be in this back corner. Do you guys want them to move chairs in that area over there? And that will be Jill and our other Michelle. So they'll share that information. So don't be afraid to ask questions. I know our parents in here are not afraid. But the more questions you ask, then it helps us to know what do we need to better communicate out. Okay? I think that's it. Any questions for me? All right, so you choose which one you want to start with, and then we'll rotate you from there. Choose the one you want to start with. Okay, so you should be in your second rotation. Now that was 25 minutes. So I'm still going to set the timer for 20. We'll see how the time goes. If we do another 25 and 25, we will be over 7:30 a little bit. So I just kind of want to keep that. But I also want to be sure that you get questions answered. Please understand, parents, that when it comes to social emotional bully prevention, it is a process and we cannot do it by ourselves. We need all of our families helping out with that. It's a heavy lift, right? Because it's behaviors you learn at home, in the community, at school. I'm setting 20 minutes, ready, go. So I apologize, I know we're in the middle, but we've got one more rotation, and I just realized we've got people who are going to try to set up in here for a big resource fair tomorrow. So we got to not be here too long after 7:30. So I'm going to ask you to move one more time. And if you want to stay in the one you're at and hear it again because you're very passionate about that, that is your choice, absolutely. Thank you so much, Bully Prevention Group. You're going to go back here. Last spot is role of school counselors and mental health. Facilities and communication, you're going to go over here to our Bully Prevention Group. Thank you. Role of school counselors, you're going to come over here to our communications and facilities group. Okay, so this is the last group. And because of timing, I will make a hard stop at 20 minutes. And then if we need to continue some Q&A outside when we're all done, people will stick around. But knowing that people are waiting for this room, want to give them that opportunity, okay? And we have a few things after. So 20 minutes starting now. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to finish your sentence. You can stay where you're at. You can return back to your seat. We're almost done. We just have I want to go over, well, one, I want to propose a temporary name to the temporary facility so we don't call it a temporary facility anymore. And make sure everyone's good with that who's here. Because you give the thumbs up, we're moving on it. So I propose the name, then we'll do a confidence line and our next steps. So we are almost done. So I walked around, I heard many of the same pieces of information. The teams got some really good feedback from you, so thank you very much. That helps them to improve upon their practices, plus now it gives you some ideas on the work that's happening and where we want to take pieces as a district, especially when it comes to socially emotional learning environments for our students that are safe, welcoming, nurturing, and not just for our children, for our staff, anybody who works at our schools, and for our parents as you enter, right? And as you exit, you experience the same. So we ask that you work with us on this because it will take the entire village doing that. All right, so what are some clear next steps? Well, first of all, I would like to know, can we call this San Bernardino City Unified School District Welcome Center? Can we call it the Welcome Center? Is that a term that is broad enough? And I'm seeing no, really. For now, when we have the permanent one, we will be naming this probably after a very prominent person in the community, but this idea of we welcome you to the district, here's our programs. If you want to enroll, you can enroll here. If you need to get some immunization, if you want some information, hey, we have parent meetings here too. That was our idea around Welcome Center. Can I get a thumbs up? I'm not seeing, no? We're like, no? Well, then I need a name because we can't keep calling it Centralized Resource Center. So who's going to name it? So if you don't know the community, is that going to be a place that's going to like ring to you? Whoa. See, we're knocking Mr. Pace off the chair.
I think the word resource needs to be up in there. San Bernardino City Unified Resource. It has to be, resource tells me that if I'm in need of something, I can walk up in there and ask questions and see if they're able to assist me. It's resource. We're coming together about resources to help our community.
So Resource Center? Just don't want to send the wrong message to our community that it's a resource center where everything is available. So that's the, because if you're not from the area, if you didn't participate in this process, you might hear resource and you might think, I can go there to get financial resources if I need it, I can anything, and that's not the case. And so we don't want to send the wrong message. So that's the only hesitation on only saying resource center. Well, yeah, we will go through we have a process for naming buildings, so most likely it'll be something like that. So San Bernardino, so SBCUSD Resource Center, is that what I'm hearing?
I'm saying resource needs to be in there somewhere because it's providing us with different needs for our community. You can come from Idaho, but we live here. So we need to know what's being offered to us as parents and as a community.
Educational Resource Center. Right. Did I hear you say Family Resource Center? Well, we are moving. No. Mhm. There have been mixed feelings about it. Only that it might only get translated into that when it offers more. What was that? Educational Resource Center? What was that?
New Beginning Resource Center. It's a new beginning for us. It's a resource center. It covers everything. It's a new beginning. We started in a new direction, and we got new leadership. So why not name it New Beginning Resource Center?
So I think something as and that's a beautiful sentiment. I think something as detailed as that would go through the naming process. I think that the new beginning piece might get lost. So hands up if you're good with, we'll of course we'll have the district name. So SBCUSD Educational Resource Center. Educational Resource Center. Anyone who cannot live with that? You said no? You cannot? Ms. Cooper, can you live with that? So SBCUSD Educational Resource Center. Well, it's got educational piece in it. True. Educational programs. Yeah. Well, and so I'll jump to this and then we'll come back. One of the things that we're going to do tomorrow, we'll be sitting down with our communications department to lay out a full communications plan on this new center so that we have a concerted effort to get that information out, right? And then we'll have ongoing. But Linda Bardier and her team, they are experts in this work, and so they know this press release, who it needs to go to, what it needs to include, all those components. So that will start it. Then, of course, we'll have to keep it going, and we're going to count on the community sharing that information. That's another piece. So that'll be the initial piece of it, and then much of it will be word of mouth. We'll make sure we get information to the schools and that ongoing. But that is definitely on our agenda for tomorrow. Start Here Help Center? Start Here Help Center. I don't see, the faces aren't showing it. They're giving the same look they had for Welcome Center. The district. So if we say SBCUSD, okay, so we've had educational resource center, because I really just want to say, okay, so then I'm going to assign a few parents and you're going to come up with it, or you're going to allow us to do it, because we're getting to this place where we've got to name it. If we're going to start advertising it, we got to name it, even if it's a temporary name. Okay, no, we didn't vote on education or enrollment plus. There are acronyms for everything. So, Welcoming Resource Center? SBCUSD Welcoming Resource Center. Welcoming Resource Center. We have to have that at the beginning. All right, so SBCUSD Welcoming Resource Center. Can you live with that? It's all temporary, but at least we got to name it. Thank you. Can you live with it? Yeah, we got thumbs up. Can we live with it? No, I can't go with that because then you're going to say, Dr. Morales made us do it. So I'm not going to do that. SBCUSD Welcoming Resource Center. It translates nicely. No, it'll translate nicely in Spanish too. Centro de Recursos y Bienvenidos. Bienvenida. Even better. It does. It translates nicely. Not everything translates as nice. That one does. You know it does. You know it does. I'm going to come back to you guys, okay? We're going to do, I want to just go through everything again, because again, there's people waiting outside that came back to continue their workday. So you're going to process that. I'm going to come back to you. Hours, so we agreed that when we looked at the data that we would be open one weekend a month, one Saturday for part of a day once a month. That came out of the survey. So we're going to, when we open, it'll be the second Saturday of every month. And it'll be just a morning piece. We're not going to have a full day of work. We also agreed that we would have one day a week where we'd be open a little bit later for parents who have to work late. And so we're looking at making that Monday evenings where we would be open until 7 o'clock. Second Saturday of every month. And so again, all of this will get advertised out, but we just want to make sure there's clear, concrete pieces. I've shared with you who's going to be housed in there, right? So for the temporary, you know, the health clinic. We are meeting tomorrow with Sachs Clinic, who are part of Loma Linda University, to work out more details. That's not, when we open this temporary location, soon to be called Welcoming Resource Center, when we open it, the clinic's going to take a little bit longer. There's some facilities pieces that have to be done. There has to be different flooring put in. There's just some regulations for clinics. So tomorrow we're going to meet back with them and see what can we do to get it open as quickly as possible, given our parameters, and knowing that it is still a temporary space, right? We don't want to invest too much. We want the investment to go into the permanent. But we are working on that. I shared about the communication campaign. The last piece I want to share, there was a request when Devana and Lilia met with Aldo and Leonard to have an opportunity to come back and reflect on how this process has gone at the end of the school year. So you'll see on the agenda that we have a reflection meeting set up on Wednesday, May 23rd, 9 to 10, and that's a.m., and we will we'll get you that location. And if for some reason you can't come to that, we'll find out a way where you can submit some things digitally if you have to report to work. So that's upcoming. We'll do the same outreach that we've done with email and all of that. So you can save that date and then watch for more information. All right, so ladies, can we go with that one? Can we just see how it plays out? So I'm going to say it again. SBCUSD Welcoming Resource Center. No, stop it, Mr. Pace. Thank you, we appreciate that. It is, again, it is a temporary location. It meets the need of having resources in there. It meets that idea of welcome to the district. Let's see what's here to, and what's available to us. So last part, red, yellow, green, you know the drill. How are we doing? Are we all in the green yet? How confident are you that we're listening to your needs? And what would it take to get to the next level? Please stand up and go walk over there. That's based off today. So remember, red is we're completely, you're not confident that we're listening to the diverse needs of the community. Yellow means you're still cautious, but you're feeling okay. Green means we're still on track. So moms, I'm waiting for you. No pressure or anything. This has been quite a process, but you know, when you think about it, we really started on this in the summer, and in 6 months, you have accomplished a lot, so that's to be commended. Yes, Aldo, you know what thank you. All right, so talk in your smaller group. The yellow, what is it that would take to get you to the green? The green, what is it will take to keep you there? Yellow. I don't think there's anyone in red, am I correct? Yellow, can we share aloud? And because I hear some things that I can clarify for you. So, you know what? Actually, let me give you share why you're at, or what would take to get you to green. And I specifically heard some misunderstanding on the health center, so I'll clarify.
So some of the misunderstanding is that when the center was first asked, part of the requirement was to have the health clinic at the temporary location. I explained from earlier conversation that because of the confidentiality involved with the health clinic, that it couldn't be at that location and that you would be talking with the health services.
So let me clarify. Ooh, I got a little bit louder. And it's that we're talking about two different groups. So health services is a department of San Bernardino City Unified School District. We have a coordinator. She oversees the nurses. They right now are at the WA. We couldn't move them, that department, to this temporary place because we couldn't, it was too open in the confidentiality piece. The clinic would be an agreement that we're going to enter into with SACS, and that is going to be at the center. We just have to do facilities upgrades. So it is two different things, but it makes sense that it would be confusing if you don't know the nuances of it. So I apologize. So the employees will stay at the WA, and we will enter into a partnership with SACS, and we will still have a clinic that once it gets up and running, will offer immunization, TB testing, and sports physicals. And then referrals for any mental health to their larger clinic that actually is not too far from the facility itself. Okay? But I'm glad you asked that because there's others that may not have been clear. Anything else for the yellow that needs to move to the green?
So just the implementation. I mean, we've gotten this far with the setup and all the details of the site, but we just want to implement it. We want to see it up and running.
Okay. Thank you.
And from our side, it's basically once you meet with SACS and you give us a date, that's one of the priorities that we were requesting for our children. Need to understand that our community is a very needy community. It's low income. 50, if not more than 50% of our population have no medical coverage. So we need to have something. We want parents to come and volunteer at our school sites. We need to make sure that we have something for them and say, come down here, do your TB test, don't worry about having to pay anything. So that's one of the things that we highly demanded, if I want to use that word.
Did you hear that, Mr. Pace? Did he stay here? You got it? No, just kidding. We're on this together. We're in this together. Yes, we know. We ask that you understand that if it's just not the same as if you're putting it in somewhere. It takes time. But we are not going to let that go. Green.
Okay, so for us, we're the green group, and in order to keep us in green, we just want to make sure that everything that we're seeing, like they said, is just implemented. We do see the progress, and that's why we're in green, because we now have dates, we know the plans and all of that. So just as long as everything stays on schedule, we should be great.
Great. Thank you. All right. Let's give each other a round of applause. We got here, we did it. We went over 15 minutes, but I turned it off. Have a wonderful evening, travel safely home. I think there's some food you can take home to your family. Thank you for participating and being a part of the process. San Bernardino City Unified School District Welcoming Resource Center. I wrote it down.